What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Chromecast. We've missed you.
I know.
It's been a weird summer.
Yeah.
I'm Joe. This is Robbie.
Hey, what's up?
So Gabe's out this week, and we're just going to roll with it. And we've got Switcher. There's Robbie taking a sip of coffee.
You're on this one.
Yeah. There you go.
Welcome.
Cheers. Welcome. If you're not watching over on YouTube, you're missing out on some quality content.
I know.
The next phase of this is I want to have a laptop ran in to where, as we're talking about stories, we can cut to
You
the
can
article.
Chromebook pretty easily with that.
Yeah.
Little 16 by 9. Make sure it's one of those.
Yep. So yeah, we're rocking and rolling. There is a crew outside pressure washing, sandblasting the side of our building, and we didn't realize it until we were about ready to start rolling, but because of the drop ceilings in this building,
they're hitting the top part of the building, so it's
coming around.
Yeah.
So if you hear that, that's
I don't think they will.
I don't think so.
They will.
These mics do such a good job of
it's kind of picking up like right here.
Yeah.
And that's all. But yeah, it's I can't hear it now.
We need to get a photo. I'll drop a photo in. We'll get a photo of the dungeon. Our windows.
Get the dungeon and get the outside of what's happening.
Right, yeah. We'll drop them both in.
Grossness that's going on.
The windows in our office are boarded up.
We're ready for the hurricane.
So we are sitting in the dark working. It's been lots of fun.
Trying to light it. It is nice for the golf simulator.
It's very nice.
And the golf simulator looks awesome.
When we do that, we normally make the choice to black things out.
Black it out for a few minutes, and then we take them down.
Not the case right now.
Yeah, I had some blackout roll curtains in my Amazon cart. I was just going to buy them.
Yeah.
Bring them to the office, and they mount outside the window and drop right, flush. Like, hey, these are going to be perfect.
Great.
It's going to be awesome. Don't need them now.
No.
So, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
We're
I wish I could say it was going to be done in next week, but the pace they're going, it's going to be a minute.
They're going quite slow. So yeah, it's been just a weird week. But we did get a unboxing captured and put out. Not really an unboxing, actually. It's kind of more of a quick unboxing.
It's a new hybrid video.
Impressions review video.
Yeah, new kind of thing we're trying. So yeah, the idea here being instead of doing unboxing on a device that, other than its price and being surprised for how good it is for the money, it doesn't have a lot of standout features.
Yeah.
It's not like, wow, guys, you got to see this new thing.
Yeah.
It's just a Chromebook. So we're trying a new thing where for devices like that, instead of getting kind of caught up and trying to do a full review process and all that stuff, I can make those impressions pretty quick. It's no different than anybody else on the internet that reviews phones on a daily basis, being able to pretty quickly know good, bad. Here's the good stuff, here's the bad stuff. I got hair in my nose or something. And so, we're trying to be okay, well, we can show the unboxing. Unboxings aren't that interesting anymore.
Yeah, most Chromebook unboxings are uneventful.
Yeah, I mean, it's a brown box
90%
with
of
a cord
them.
and the Chromebook, and then a couple pieces of paper. So we wanted to kind of get away from highlighting the unboxing part of it, because what people, I think, watch unboxing videos for is what's your initial what's your reaction to that thing? And so it's well, if we can get that initial reaction, still be early enough in the time that we've had it for it to be an initial reaction, but also to be able to say, look, I can tell you whether or not to go purchase this thing now. I don't need to spend 2 more weeks daily driving it or whatever. And there are going to be big Chromebook releases that we have to do that with that are changing something, the Dragonfly Pro or some of these gaming
Spend
Chromebooks.
Extra time on those and really go through the whole process.
Right.
Get all the extra B-roll and think through.
Right.
Yeah. But some of these on sale for $169.
Yeah, and it's been
devices.
on sale twice in a month. So it's been available for a month.
Yeah.
It's $169 right now still as we're doing this. It's $319 normally. At $319 it's even less exceptional, because at $319 it's it's fine for that price. That's fine. But it's been on sale enough already. I would tell you, don't even think about buying it at MSRP.
Just that whole value proposition we always talk about. Price changes things. It changes the way you look at it, changes the way you kind of think about a device.
And usually if a device drops to that, you just freely assume it's flimsy. You assume the keyboard's going to be mushy. You assume the screen's going to be bad. You assume the processor's going to be slow. There's not going to be much RAM and no storage. Those are the things that's what's going to happen here. And undoes most of those things. Now, some of them, it's only got 64 gigs of storage. That's pushing it. I don't ever feel the need to expand it because I don't store stuff on my Chromebook.
Right.
That's not a thing I do, but people do. It's got an SD card slot to help with that, but it's only got 4 gigs of RAM, and you feel that. And it does have a more entry-level processor. So it's the Companion 520 that basically succeeds the Companion 500, or as we used to call it, the MT8183 that was in the original Lenovo Chromebook Duet. Mm-hmm. And so the step up here is noticeable. So pushing a 1080p screen, it does move faster. If you stay locked on 1 or 2 tasks, you don't really notice it much. The minute you start going to do a bunch of multitasking and multiple virtual desks, it does output 1080p as well. So you could hook it to a secondary screen, which only kind of enhances the knowledge that you're using a very low-end processor.
Yeah. But at least you could do it.
You can.
Like, for a presentation or something,
right,
you know. Yeah.
If you need to just push to one screen for something.
That original Duet, you couldn't.
Just couldn't do it. It wouldn't push 1080p. And so that was partly like one of the frustrating things about that device. But don't expect like some mammoth improvement in performance. Like you're not going to pick this thing up and be like, wow, this is so fast. It's not. But it's not as slow. Like the original Duet has gotten kind of painful to use. My kids still have it, and when I have to do something on it, I'm like, wow, holy moly! Yeah. Like the web and tech just moves on. Like software asks more of the hardware as time goes by because they're like, well, we can get away with this. Let's push into this a little bit more. So the hardware does have to keep up, and that device is getting on in age.
What was the RAM on that original Duet?
4.
4, yeah.
Yeah, so it's 4 128, I think. Yeah. So yeah, the 8 gigs of RAM would help a little bit, but not a ton. And there might be a version of it that comes out with 8 gigs, but for right now, Slim 3 is 464, Companion 520. But the big win here, like as long as you understand that going in, like this is a thing like browse Facebook, check your email, do some stuff around the house, let a kid use it for schoolwork, that kind of stuff. As long as you know that going in, the other upsides are really interesting. So it's slim. It should be. It's called Slim. It'd be weird if it was all chunky.
If it was some big, thick Chromebook.
5 pounds.
But, Chromebook thick names, I wouldn't be
they'd be like, I don't
horribly surprised.
Why'd you call it Slim?
Well,
I don't know.
Well, we had that SKU, and then we were...
There was this guy working on it. He always just goes by Slim. He's a big, tall dude, and I don't know. So we're like, let's name it after Slim.
We just rolled with that.
Yeah, that makes sense, right, everybody? Everybody understand that? Yeah. Is it clear marketing? So, yeah, I wrote a post. I'll try to remember to put that in the show notes.
Yeah.
Chromebook X maybe can save some Chromebook names, possibly. But the build is nice, and it's not the slimmest Chromebook I've ever used, but it is. It doesn't feel big. It's all plastic, but it's firm. Like it actually feels firm.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. So I don't know if they reinforced it with aluminum or something inside. I don't know what they did, but I love it. I love that. And cheap
just
Chromebook.
Like some of the in the video you can see. I mean, you're holding it from the very corner.
Edge. Yeah, it's a 14-inch Chromebook, and it's not bendy, and you push on the keyboard and it's barely moving. I'm like, I don't know what they did here, but
it's something.
Kudos. That's everyone needs to be doing this. And part of that, the firmness of the bottom part of the chassis helps with the keyboard, and it's a good keyboard. It's not backlit, but Lenovo tends to make pretty good keyboards, and this isn't their best, but it's way better than most $300 Chromebooks have. I mean, it just feels great to type on. I typed quite a few posts on it, actually. The trackpad's plastic, but it's pretty wide, spacious, stays smooth. Like the new Mylar and different plastics they're using for trackpads, most companies have started to get this right. Back in the day, you used to, if it was the least bit humid, if it was a plastic trackpad, your finger would stick as it slid across, kind of like this table feels right now. That's not a good experience trying to navigate fine points on a screen. Not a problem. Never had to wipe it off to get it, feeling smooth again. So good there. And then the screen is excellent for a Chromebook this price, and it follows kind of in the Flex 3i, kind of that what they did. We saw that in Vegas. 300 nit screen. It looks really good. Great viewing angles. Same thing. Matte finish, touchscreen, 300 nits, and it looks like the colors. I'm slightly color deficient, and so when there's extra color, I just notice it. I see it because the image feels more like I always want images to feel. I understand that most things look a little dull to me, and so when it doesn't look dull, I'm like, ooh, I bet this is really vivid for somebody that can see all the colors. So, and
you said it in the video. The way we edit things, it's fairly saturated.
It makes it look good.
Yeah,
like on camera a lot of times.
Like we have a lot of contrast in my editing post-production stuff. So like it always makes even a crappy screen look decent.
Yeah, I'll talk about it being crappy.
Yeah.
I'm watching the video back. I'm like,
looks actually
it
good.
looks so much better than what it really looks like.
But like photos tend to, I don't know the color science here, but like I'm not I don't edit our photos heavily. Like I shoot them raw and I do like basic editing on them.
Right.
But like photos, you can always tell a crappy screen versus a good screen. And so like our thumbnail, like you can really kind of tell.
It feels like you have
to
work harder on the ones with bad screens.
Well, hold on, let's get the angle, because like you ended up using the off angle for the actual article.
Yeah.
And you can tell it looks fantastic off angle.
Yep.
And normally on those cheaper, lower, end devices, we've got to really finagle and tilt the screen,
nits,
turn the brightness all the way up.
So it like reflects all over, and so the anti-glare mixed with a 300 nit screen mixed with the just quality of the display. I mean, it's shockingly good. Like for a cheap Chromebook. Like I don't think in that price range, especially if we're talking $170, there's nothing even close. What was the
older Lenovo that had dropped down to like 170 or 180 there for a little bit?
It's some of their I think it's the older Flex 3s.
It might have been the older Flex. Yeah,
and those did not have really high quality screens on them. Like this is a new thing I think that they're moving into. Lenovo's good screens always went to like their tablets. Like that's one thing Lenovo's always done is they figured out with all three of the duets that they've made how to make sure that the build quality was good, the device feels good in your hand, it's thin, it's attractive, and they all have good screens on them. Way better than what you would get in that class normally of Chromebook. And so it feels like they went, oh, we should do that for the clamshells and the convertibles too. Like let's bring this over, and like they need to set that precedent. And as long as they do that stuff, people like us are going to say, look, if you're going to buy a cheaper Chromebook, go buy this one. Like you're going to be more happy with this device, even if it's a little bit slower than something else with a poor screen, flimsy build quality, and bad keyboard. Like you have to weigh all those things when you're looking for a deal. Right. You have to decide. And I'm telling you, if you get a good screen and a good keyboard, it really does affect the end user experience on affordable devices.
Well, yeah, and especially like with the performance shortcomings here, you can, like you said, like you can kind of adjust your use and don't have 30 tabs open. Like
it's not like it's unusable.
Right.
Like it's not like I was like, oh.
For most people, it's probably going to be fine.
They're probably not going to worry about it. Yeah. But when you come from, I'm using all sorts of different Chromebooks, and with this Chromebook in particular, like for something I took, like yesterday when I was out of the office in the morning, I took the HP Dragonfly Pro with me, which I think I'm going to write a piece about that. Just it's been a little while since I've used it, and using it yesterday, I was like, holy, this thing is so nice. I kind of forgot. But then I went from that to using the Lenovo for something, and that's a stark difference, obviously, in performance abilities, but it wasn't like I went from this one thing to this thing that's so slow that I just can't stand even opening it. Like, it's still like, it's okay. It reminds me a lot. The experience using this reminds me so much of the Acer, I think it was just 514. It had the 828 in it.
Yeah. Or 13. 513? I don't remember.
I think it's a 14. I think it's a 14-inch device.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, because they made multiple 514s, and so this was just another one of those. But it was a clamshell. It had a nice glass trackpad on it, and a decent keyboard, mostly like aluminum lid, I think, or something like that. But it had the Companion 828 in it. Super good battery life, which this device obviously gets awesome, like 13, 14 hours of battery too. So the Lenovo we're talking about. But the Acer, had this crazy long battery life, really thin form factor, and good enough performance. Like, you slap the screen that's on this Lenovo on that Acer, and I'm like, man, you're talking about some like perfection going on here. But I get a lot of those same vibes from it. Like, I don't go into it expecting it to just blow my mind with its speed, and then I'm not disappointed by it, and I'm just delighted with the screen and the keyboard and all that stuff. So kudos to Lenovo for doing this in this space. Next tweak, guys, next time around, let's work on those names a little bit. I still can't tell you for sure. I've looked it up. It's not even on the box, by the way. The retail packaging doesn't have the actual name that they want to call it.
Sure,
so
of course.
It is a combination of Lenovo and a Chromebook, and then there's IdeaPad in there. Slim 3.
Yeah.
I think it's the Lenovo IdeaPad Chromebook Slim 3. But I always want to say Slim 3 Chromebook, or I want to say Lenovo Chromebook, but it's IdeaPad Chromebook Slim 3. That's too many words. Yeah. That's silly.
Yeah. If anything, should just
Lenovo Slim 3 Chromebook.
If anything, just Chromebook should always just maybe come last.
Maybe.
Blah, 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 Chromebook.
Don't care if that's what you want. And I think that's, we talked about, well, no, we didn't talk about the naming conventions. I wrote that since
I think we've mentioned it on the show before, but
yeah, we talked about Chromebook X and Chromebook Plus and what that's all going to mean.
Hopefully they'll be able to rein it in a little bit, but
yeah, because if you think about Chromebook names in general, I think we've talked enough about the Slim. We can probably move on, right?
Well, one other quick thing.
Okay.
Before we move on to names, this device, I think, when we posted the video this morning, still on sale.
Still on sale, $169. Again, it's been more on sale than not.
Yeah.
It's only been at MSRP for like a week and a half, maybe 10 full days since it's been available. So don't buy it at MSRP.
Right.
Based on that trend.
But a few other great sales happening over on Best Buy, and you wrote an article about Prime Day, and everybody is out searching for Prime Day deals. Well, Best Buy slid in their own little
their Black Friday in July. It came out actually the day before Prime Day started, and they had I think they had 10 total, and then we featured 7, I think, on the post I did, because 3 of them that were older Chromebooks, and I'm like, even at a deal, don't buy that. There's no sense in buying a 3-year-old Chromebook just because it's a little bit of a deal. There's too many good deals on devices like we just talked about that have AUEs now for 8 years pushed out from now. There's no sense in doing that. But the deals that did have were excellent deals.
Yeah.
There's some of the best deals. They either match the best deals we've seen or they were better than what we've seen previously, and they're all at the same time.
$200 really off on several devices.
Yeah, so you had the 516 GE.
Yeah.
$200 off, I think. So that takes it down to $450 or something like that. Which for $450, that's another one of those devices that I'm like, the pieces all just worked out with that one. If you're looking for a convertible or you're looking for something really small, super lightweight, okay, it's lighter than it looks. I'll tell you that. Firm chassis, great speakers, awesome keyboard, great trackpad, gorgeous screen, 120 hertz, super fast internals. I love that Chromebook. It's one of the ones that, when I'm not using anything else, I usually will reach for it. I really enjoy that Chromebook a lot. So $200 off of it. The now standard Duet 3 deal. Was it 120 off, I think? Or something like that. I don't know. It's a good chunk of change off of it. And it's getting to the point where it's don't buy that one at MSRP either. It'll go on sale eventually. It goes on sale a lot.
There was another Acer that I shared yesterday. I can't remember which one.
Yeah, that was one of the smaller ones that I was like, I don't know that, its sale is aggressive. And if you need a convertible, have to have a convertible, I'd say get that. But for the price, I would say go get this Lenovo instead. If you don't need a convertible device. I'm trying to think, what was the other? Because I know the 714, the Spin 714, and the HP X360, both those sales went away. And the HP is still one that I kind of, we did our unboxing on it, and I'm back and forth of whether I want to even do a review. I'm a little let down by how flimsy the bottom portion of that Chromebook is. I don't know if a $169 Chromebook can be firm and rigid. This one can't be too, and it seems a little ridiculous to me. And a 250 nit screen, I'm just like, those things. I don't care how pretty the device is. I know it's got a fingerprint scanner, and it does have. It looks good on a desk. It does. It's 16:10 screen, and all that stuff's great. But
that's how you're going to sit and use it. Maybe it is.
Maybe I don't know. But those are things I don't love to see. But the 714, the new 714 was on sale too. It's not anymore. I don't know. We're going to link it in the description, so go check it and see. Yeah. There were just great deals. Yeah, really great deals.
But just ongoing, it seems like Best Buy has clear listings. Amazon is this wild west of listings.
Weren't good.
Yeah,
so
and the deals weren't great.
I looked up the best deals I could find, and they were all on super old devices that were very incorrectly labeled a lot of times. So sellers will put new 2023 blah blah blah, and it's literally a Chromebook that came out in 2020, and so people buy it thinking they're buying a new Chromebook, and then they get it and it has 5 years of legitimacy left on it, and it's
not good.
AUE at 8 years is probably enough for Chromebooks, But when people are buying 2 and 3 year old devices, thinking they're buying a brand new device, it's pretty shady, and it's a lot of that on Amazon. Yeah. And then the deals weren't even that good on the ones they did have. They ended up having the better deal on like Pixel Buds and the Pixel Watch. They had really aggressive deals there.
Those were nice.
By $20 or $30, they were beating Amazon beating Best Buy on them.
What was the Pixel Buds Pro? They were
$130.
Yeah. So that's pretty solid.
That's legit. Those were, and then the Pixel Watch was all the way down to $250. Yeah, so they took a full $100 off.
Solid too.
Yeah, and so I mean that was good. And then the LTE Pixel Watch was like $189, so it was even $110 off the LTE model. So those were aggressive for sure. But for Chromebooks, the Chromebook deals were not great on Amazon, but they were awesome at Best Buy. And so. Thanks Prime Day for making Best Buy put those deals out there, because a lot of people took advantage of them, and that's good because there's some good.
There were great really good quality devices at very good prices. So that was
like it's cool when they have. I love seeing those deals on the devices that I'm eager to tell people to go buy.
Sure.
I don't love deals. I don't love putting out deal posts on just.
Whatever
Chromebook. It's like
something that's on sale. Yeah,
just because it's on sale, it's like I guess it's fine. But I get excited about telling people like, oh my god, this one is so great. You need to go buy this. Like those are the type of deals that we want to be sharing with people.
Curated almost, like if we share something, especially if you're subscribed to our deals newsletter, those are curated. Those are devices that we generally recommend. I mean, there's
really like.
Yeah, there's ones in there that. There might be, there's this one little quirk with this one, so you got to know that going in, but it's a great price. And, the value proposition, is always something we consider. So shout out to Best Buy. It was great. Those were solid.
And I think there's still those 4 that I'm posting in the second one. Like, hey, there's still some deals going. I think they're still trucking on.
Yeah. So back to Chromebook names, because this is actually something that we had talked about. I mean, we had some conversations in New York with some folks about Chromebook names.
Specifically, it was asked to us.
Yeah. Hey, what do you all think about Chromebook names?
I was like, well you're going to give me the platform to be honest with you. I'll tell you. And it was a shared feeling about them between us and the folks we were talking with. And so, I think Google wants to do something about that. And I don't think it's suspiciously convenient.
Yeah,
that
tied or
Chromebook Plus and X is
correlated,
rolling out pretty soon. Like I think they can use that to start honing a little bit of that naming process. So, when you think about a Pixelbook Go, Pixel Slate, and nowhere in those names is the word Chromebook. And it got me thinking just the other day. I was like, when you think about a Windows laptop or a MacBook doesn't work because MacBook is the only thing they make, and that's what they call it. But a Surface laptop is probably the best equivalent here. Microsoft doesn't say it's a Surface Windows laptop or Surface Windows book or they don't feel the compulsion to say Chromebook or whatever. They don't feel a compulsion to say what it is. They just they give it a name, and so from a marketing standpoint, I understand like you've got to figure something out with that. And Google wants to market the name Chromebook, but that's what it is. And what's funny about the whole thing too is that Chromebook I think has more brand cash than Chrome OS does, and so it'd be a whole different thing if laptop manufacturers could make a device. So it's the HP Dragonfly Pro. You buy it with Windows or you buy it with Chrome OS. Done. And that would be the clear message. So I can brand a device, I can brand a line of devices and tell you what it is. You get to choose the operating system, based on what you want out of it. That's really kind of what's happening. But I know manufacturers feel the need to put Chromebook in the device name. They do, because they want to use that to differentiate. And it's like, it's unfortunate from a naming perspective because Chromebook's a lot of word, to put in a device name. Yeah. But Google never felt compelled to do it. Now, granted, Google doesn't make Windows laptops either, so there's no confusion there. So it's tough. Yeah, I get it. It's tough, but because you're saddled with feeling like you need to put Chromebook in the name of the device, that means you need to be ultra precise and how you go about naming the rest of it. And so, kudos. I was busting on Lenovo just a minute ago.
Not
kudos for Lenovo Chromebook Duet 3.
Yeah.
Chromebook Duet 5. Clean. That's not that bad. Still a long name because you had to cram Chromebook in there. I would love to see the day where it's just like Lenovo. So you make the Duet as a Windows thing, and I'm not a product naming person, so I'm going to go with
the IdeaPad
Knife. There we go. Knife is the name of this new brand of laptop that you're going to go, like this whole line.
They're sharp.
They
and clean.
only are Chromebooks. Okay, there's no Windows version. Lenovo Knife 3. Whatever the thing is, that's what you call it, and you train the consumer that that's your Chromebook line, instead of creating the same line that you do with Windows and then having to throw Chromebook on there, which makes the whole naming of it pretty clunky. That's a big step. And I don't know that that's where Chromebook X, Chromebook Plus is going to push things, but I do think it gives Google the ability and a little bit of leverage to say, hey, you got to name that better. That's a dumb name. Like, we wouldn't name our Chromebook that. You shouldn't either. Like, that's going to confuse buyers. They don't know what to do when they walk in and ask for Acer's latest 14-inch Chromebook. Well, which one do you want? The Spin C14 Flip or the Spin?
Yep.
And a consumer's just immediately going to go, I don't know. Like,
yeah.
I thought it was just a 14. I saw it in the paper. It was a 14-inch Chromebook. There's 5 of those. So which one are you talking about? Does it flip? Does it have? Which processor does it have? Like, you're losing people really, really quickly in the consumer space. So, they need to get the names like honed down. And I think Google could just be, no, that name's not good enough. So you're free to release this without the Chromebook Plus moniker on it. Go for it. Have fun. But if you do want this in that, you got to fix the name.
Yeah.
And obviously there's all the other stuff that goes with it, but it gives them that leverage because people are going, if this goes right, if this all works according to plan, you're going to have, say you have the whole pile of Chromebooks. I think you'll have this kind of cream of the crop version that's maybe a 15% of the total, maybe something like that. 1 or 2 maybe from each manufacturer, and that is all. And those are your Chromebook Pluses. Now, I think an Acer, Lenovo, or HP could all put out probably multiple Chromebook Plus devices. So you have one that is high-end with the biggest specs, but you also have a well-thought-out one that's, for the more affordable segment, and maybe one in between. And and you can put out a foldable one, or you can put out one that's just you can do all of those things. You spend some time and think through how you're going to name it. Make sure that it meets Google standards for build quality and specs, and put them out. Because if they're clearly named and people understand, like, they're going to go in there, there's 15 HP Chromebooks to buy, but there's 3 of them that are Chromebook Plus. Move all the rest of them out. I want one of these 3. So now you've clarified this for me. I know I want one of these 3. Big one, medium one, small one, or fastest one, medium one, slowest one, or whatever the case may be. And then it's much easier for the consumer to make the choice. They buy it. If this starts happening, then the next year that comes around, people are going to be like, well, like Acer looks at it and goes, well, we didn't make a Chromebook Plus last year, and we got stomped by HP in the space. The consumer space is coming up. How do we get in? We went into the Chromebook space. Fine, we'll name it. Which Acer's names have been pretty good, but we'll name it whatever you need, and we'll follow along to get into this space. And that gives Google just a little bit more leverage to kind of go, look, do it our way because we make Chromebooks better than anybody else. And they do. They just do.
At what point are manufacturers only wanting to make Plus devices because of this? Is there still room? Is there still need for non-Plus devices?
I think
where do they fit in?
I think non-Plus devices end up being education and enterprise. Ones where they know they've got a carved out niche. They're going to make the device that's going to go to them and move on.
Or super cheap.
Yeah, crazy affordable. It's going to put it on sale all the time.
Because the Slim 3 is a good example of a cheap device still being well made.
I could see. I don't think the camera is high enough resolution on it. But I could see something like the Slim almost being close, because they're going to retroactively add Chromebook Plus to the
existing
older models
inventory. Yeah,
if it fits. And I know camera resolution is one of the things. The Slim doesn't have that, but I feel like it has everything else.
Yeah,
like the attention to detail, the way it's built feels really great. because it's not they're going to include already, we know for sure, like the N100 and 200 Alder Lake chips. It's not one of those chips, but I think it's less about super fast performance, and it's about a good experience. Like that, and I know that's a little subjective. That's, you can't just put that on paper, but if they just put stuff on paper, we're going to end up with devices, and we had this talk before with Chromebook X. Like, you're going to end up with devices that have no charm and aren't fun to use, that have blowout specs, but that doesn't equate to much these days, especially. And so, really thinking through creating like a delightful user experience, and Google's very good at that. They really are. Like with their hardware, the Slate was a miss in some ways, mainly because of the keyboard, to be honest with you. Like the keyboard trackpad case thing just wasn't great.
They built the device and then they were like,
we got to make a keyboard. Dang
crap.
They just didn't think through it.
What about the folio?
Yeah.
How's that going to work?
I got it. We'll put round keys on there. Everybody will be like,
whoa, these
they
are
did
cool.
look cool. But yeah, it just didn't last. I think both our cases have problems. And so
I think was it the
one of them
enter key, or like one of the keys just stopped working on the one that I had.
It started working again, and I was like, I'll put this other one that we have on it. It doesn't even work at all. It doesn't even recognize it. And so, but the tablet, you pick up the tablet and use it. It's like, it's really nice. And it's got some of the best speakers I've ever heard on it. Like how they fit those in there, I have no idea. And so like Google thinks about those types of things. Yeah. They don't just think specs. And it's the reason the Dragonfly Pro, we went in depth on that in the review, and we've talked about it on the podcast and all that kind of stuff. It's the reason that device feels different to use. It's because Google was not just a little involved. Google was heavily involved. Like HP went to them and said, help us build this Chromebook. And not that Chromebook X is going to do exactly that, but it's that type of thing. Like it's going to kind of force manufacturers to be like, okay, here's this Chromebook. What do you think? And let Google say, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks. Fix it.
Yeah. If you want Plus.
Or take Plus off of it. That's fine. And I love it. I think it's a great way to do this if it works. Like if the first batch of them have that feel like they've been touched by Google a little bit, it will work. Yeah. Because people will know, like, who cares what else is coming out? What 5 Chromebook Pluses you got, and I'll pick from those.
Yeah.
That's what people do with MacBooks. Mm-hmm. It's what a lot of people do with Windows nowadays. Like, there are a lot of people that buy Surface. Like, if anybody ever comes to me and says, I'm not too worried about the budget, but I have to have Windows, what should I get? Surface.
Yeah.
Right. You don't have to get the sentence out. Go buy a Surface device, because it's the attention to details there. They have a team that cares deeply about the experience of using the device. Yeah. I've used Surface devices. They are great. Mm-hmm. If you like Windows, they're fantastic, and you don't have to worry about all the bloat. Like it's not just software. It's not just specs. It's the experience of using it. And so, Chromebooks have had that in the past. But it's just here or there. And so I think that Chromebook Plus has the ability maybe to corral this. I don't want to I don't want to put cart before the horse and say that it's going to work. I don't
want to get ahead of ourselves here.
But if it does work, and they can inject the Google, whatever it is, attention to detail is really all it is. Yeah. The Google attention to those types of things, to the experience into other manufacturers' Chromebooks, it could work. It really could. And it'll change pretty vastly the way the consumer part of the market goes. And it needs it. Like, consumers are very confused, I think, when it comes to Chromebooks, and sometimes we are too. Like, you start looking at models, and I'm like,
which one is that? Is that the? Is that the? Hold on. Which
year was that made? And and it's confusing.
Which processor is that one? Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's just the naming part of it. And so there's room for growth here, and I think it's a consolidation move that hopefully works. I can't wait to find out, to hear like the official stuff. To really know, like, here's what it's going to do. Here's how many people are on board already. Because hopefully they'll be able to say, hey, we're launching this thing
with these
5 Chromebooks are on board.
5-10 devices.
And I'm back and forth whether or not, like, there's part of me that feels like Google this would be a perfect time for a new Pixelbook to come out in order to, like, just show, like, here's what we're talking about. Like, in 2023, here's what we mean. And build it purposefully not to be a spec beast, which the Pixelbooks never were anyway. They were high-ish end, but they weren't mind-blowing. I would love to see them make a Pixelbook with like an N-series Celeron or something, or something, or one of the MediaTek chips or something, and just don't try to blow anybody's mind with it. Just show how good of an experience you can make,
but it has
on a realistic budget with attention to details.
Great screen,
Yeah, all the stuff that makes
great keyboard,
a great experience.
Build. Yeah. And I'm excited to see how Google positions all of this and what sort of marketing they put towards this, because
if they don't market it, it's a fail.
If they don't put some serious dollars behind this, it's going to end up being like everything else. People are going to end up just getting more confused because now there's this other thing. And well, what about whenever I Google Chromebook Plus? You want to know what comes up?
Probably a video of us talking about the Samsung Chromebook Plus.
3 pages of the Samsung Chromebook Plus, which is a device that is out there. You could
and
still...
it was a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like it was just another Chromebook that was released. Like, it was a huge deal.
Samsung put a lot of money behind that one.
Yeah, they had it on stage at CES the first year we went.
We were like, what? What is the...
It made us think, like, every year at Keynote they're going to have Chromebooks up here. Like, we had no idea the anomaly that was. It was so bizarro that they even included it. It's so weird. I think back now, I'm like, it's super weird, actually. But, Samsung was trying to be forward-thinking at a time when there were 10 total consumer Chromebooks, maybe, from over the last couple of years. And so, I mean, I remember because it was the code name was Kevin, and it was named on Minions, and like we wrote so many articles from the repositories about that one Chromebook because it was this culmination of like all these new things they were doing, like so many new things with one single Chromebook. And in some ways it succeeded, in some ways it failed miserably. It was not well thought out. The processor was so slow, so slow to push all those pixels on that beautiful quad HD screen. But it had a pen, a stowable stylus. They did some what do you call it? Resistance on the trackpad. But also it had the ability.
Oleophobic, or what is it now?
It's where it resists your accidental clicks.
Oh,
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it also had some stuff where it could sense when your hands got close that they had used on the Pixel or the Chromebook Pixels. Like, it was a bunch of stuff. They threw a bunch of crap at this Chromebook, and it was like, oh, there's this, oh, there's this, and there's this. And it was like one thing after another, and it was for one Chromebook that didn't completely execute. I mean, we went up to New York for another thing that Samsung put on, and for this in the Chromebook Pro, and it's like it was so crazy and such a big deal.
We
and
filmed up on that roof. That was cool.
Yeah, and so there's like all of that surrounding the name Chromebook Plus, and so that'll be hard to overcome. It's been a while. It's been 2017, so you're 6 years, but 6.5 years ago.
I went incognito and searched Chromebook Plus, and it's
like they're going to have to spend money, and they need to get publishers on board to talk about it when they do it. Like, get press releases out, make sure that you push all that old stuff down and this new stuff comes up to the top.
And also a little bit, I think, too, of getting tech reviewers these devices, and Google maybe even helping out with that a little bit, instead of just relying on manufacturers, because I would say most of your bigger tech publications have a rep with Google that cover this stuff, and they can help kind of corral the devices for you rather than you having to work with all these different people. So like that could help a little bit too.
Yep.
So we'll just see. I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see how it all plays out. What's the timing again? They haven't said specifically.
No, they have not said it. Google has not actually said that any of this is real.
Right.
But I mean, it is.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously, as we learn more, we will continue writing about it and talking about it.
Yeah, I've been trying to keep up. I'm not seeing a lot. Now, granted, they could have moved it. They could have changed now that it got out.
Yeah.
They might have changed some of the way that they refer to it. So until we find what that is, or maybe they're not. I don't know.
Yeah. Felt like there was a lot there for a minute.
It was, and all of a sudden, I looked the other day, and like most of the stuff, because CBX is kind of the way they internally refer to it. Not a whole lot since late June. And so I seriously doubt they just stopped.
No, they're
probably starting to refer to it as something else.
Yeah.
There's probably a way. I mean, maybe I just need to search CBP.
Ooh,
they're going to change it to Chromebook Plus now, since that's what it's called. I don't know. I need to do some more searching.
Do some searching after this.
Yeah.
Okay, let's switch gears and talk now, kind of get out of the Chromebook space for a minute. Talk about the device you have sitting on the table here. The fold.
Old
and
fold.
I see a nick in the case there on the very top.
Small one. It's more of a dent.
Here, let's switch to that camera. You can maybe
Which
show
one?
it to the main your camera.
Yeah, there's no way you're gonna pick up on that. Oh,
the light, you might be able to see it right there.
Yeah, right up in the corner.
Whoopsie.
Yeah. Yeah. So I posted about this. It was a round of golf Sunday, just this last Sunday, so 5 days ago or something. Enough days to know that I didn't ruin the phone. I didn't even hurt the phone at all, I don't think. Yeah, I had it. So I've got this clamp that it's magnetic that hooks to the golf cart.
This is the second time this has happened.
I know. The first
you got to figure this thing out.
Well, the first time I was just lazy with it. Since that happened, that was last year when it happened the first time.
Yeah.
It has not happened since with a regular smartphone.
Yeah.
And so I put this in the clamp a couple rounds ago, and the way that where it comes together there is kind of where the clamp wants to be grabbing, and so it's kind of weird.
Because it's used to probably kind of wrapping
It
around.
kind of wraps around the front of the phone.
A regular
and so
phone,
that puts it in a weird position where the fold's happening here. And so I clamped it in, and it felt plenty snug. And then went about my round. And the idea is, you have GPS or whatever on it, with the app. And so at any hole, I can just go in, open it up real fast, and see where that sand bunker is, and yada yada. Because you're still going to scope the hole and all that stuff, but it's nice to see an overlay of the hole, especially on a course you've not played before. So I think it was hole 10 or 11. Hit my tee shot, I go to take off, and when the phone drops, whether it falls out of your lap, you just there's like a sixth sense you got. Now, granted, this one's right here, and so I took off. I just saw it, like by it. Had that moment of like, oh no, and like a slow motion, and I look back and I see it just tumbling on asphalt. Now, if you think about a golf cart, where I had this thing up there, it's about 5 to 5.5 feet off the ground. Normally, you drop a phone near 2 or 3 feet because it's from your pocket out of the chair,
or in a chair or something. Yeah.
So 2 to 3 foot is kind of your general drop. This is pushing twice that. And then I look back, I see it tumble just a second, and then it's face down, and I was just like,
nothing on the screen that I can tell.
It's going to be cracked. Like, the screen's going to be
shattered.
Because, it hit hard. And so I turn the cart around, and I go pull up, and I flip it over, and I'm like, oh, okay. But the inside's definitely going to be busted. Like, that, just the jolt of it is going to have done something. I open it up, and it's fine. And then I look at it, and I'm like, maybe it didn't hit the corner. No, I saw it rolling. Like, what? I don't understand. And I finally find the little bitty nick on the corner of the case. And I'm like, that looks like I could have like squeezed it against my keys or something.
Yeah.
Like, that does not look indicative of what happened. And so,
or
of course,
even the backside here. After you told me what happened, I figured this would be
this is steel.
Yeah.
So,
but behind the hinge, I thought it would be damaged. There's one little nick right there too.
Yeah, there's some little scuffs now that I'm looking. There's a little scuff right there too, which there should be.
But it's not shattered or broken half.
It took, and it's not on the phone.
Like I thought it would be in 2 pieces.
And we haven't done like the full review kind of stuff that we want to do on this thing yet. I've written some articles on it, and we did the unboxing. But obviously, I want to do. I don't even know if I want to call it a review. Like, I just want to, like, my time with the fold. Yeah. Like, here's where I'm at with this thing. We haven't done any of that, and I'm like, oh my god,
gonna have to
shattered it.
Send that message to our rep.
And the reason I took it out there to begin with is the first round I played, once I had this, I left it like in the bag and stuff, and I'm like, if I'm ever going to use one of these phones, I've got to use this phone as if it's just a phone. I have to. Like, I can't baby it. Now, if it were mine, I would be tempted to do that, but I'm like, I need to use this to review it. I've got to just use it as a phone. It's got to be in and out of my pocket all the time, on the table, face down sometimes. Like, I can't baby it. And I don't feel like I have to anymore. I'm pleasantly, there's another nick there, pleasantly surprised, both by the quality of the case.
Yeah.
This is the official Google case on this thing, but by the quality of the case, and then just the resiliency of this phone. I mean, I'm really shocked. And again, I'm not saying go drop this thing and it's going to be fine. I'm not saying that. And it could be completely anecdotal. Like 10 more drops, it could break 9 times out of it.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, it didn't, and I'm pleasantly surprised. Like it's not like there's I can tell there's something a little wrong with it. Like nothing. If I took this case off, you would never ever know that this thing took that kind of drop, and it was severe. It was a very severe
on
drop.
asphalt too.
Yeah, I mean at speed. Like it's not like I took off and it fell. Like I had gotten kind of up to speed and it left me.
Yeah,
that's why it was rolling the other direction. Like so
office floor, like your house floor. You
maybe
know?
Yeah, but you got crunchy asphalt. Yeah. It's hard and it's gnarly. Like
the fact that it was sitting face down and this screen isn't like
it's bonkers.
Like it didn't shatter for one, but like not even
a scratch.
Not even a scratch. No, I thought that was a scratch. Nope, no.
Whatever the latest Victus 2, I think, on the outer screen. Like it's
whatever it is. Kudos. Which also this case is nice.
I know. The frame is steel. I think. I'm pretty sure. I think it's stainless steel on most of it. So that makes a difference too.
Right.
It's steel. Like it might get a little nick or scratch in it, but it's not going to bend nearly as much. So I know it's a foldable, and I know there's a lot of moving pieces to it, which means it's probably a little less durable than just a slab smartphone. However, I mean, I think it's more durable than most people think it would be. And that's a good thing. So, like, you need to still have your insurance on it or do whatever you're going to do to cover it in case you do destroy it or lose it or whatever. But at the same time, I really don't think you need to be delicate with it. Right. As long as you got it in a case. Now, if that wouldn't have had a case on it, it would definitely be just the impact alone. But I think it's a combination probably of steel rails that are firmer. And then this is enough. The case was enough to absorb enough of the impact that it didn't give that over,
Or flip open.
And it stays,
so it's snapped closed tight.
Yeah, it magnets itself closed pretty good. So Again, it makes me think that Google probably put this thing through the ringer a little bit in some of their testing. And that they made some tweaks to make sure that it's not going to fall apart on you.
Yeah.
And when you spend this much money on a phone, if you bought one, and now granted all the carriers are giving you like $100 off or $1,000 off or $900 off. So hopefully you didn't spend the full price. But if you did, hopefully this gives some people a little bit of peace of mind.
Sure.
Because I know it's just I've had foldable phones before, and you do get used to it after a little bit. Like you get over like, oh God,
right?
I don't even want to set it down anywhere. You have to get by that, or else using it's not ever going to be fun.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to actually enjoy using the device if you're scared to touch it all the time. And so,
our phones are a utility.
They
like
are.
you got to be able to use it.
100%.
Have you seen? I can't remember who it was. One of our UK friends shared the new Honor.
Fisher got his hands on it. He did a review on it.
Blanking on the name.
It's called. Super thin.
It is so thin. So thin.
Oh no, it's Tech Chap.
Yeah,
did
Tom.
And so
and it folds flat.
Yeah,
and it
looks
is so thin.
Yep.
With a good sized battery, he said.
Yeah, I haven't watched the video yet because I'm like, it'll never come to the States, so it doesn't matter to me.
But the tech is advancing, which is
gosh.
cool.
And that's the thing. It's advancing. And that's why it's good that more companies are making stuff for the U.S. because I feel like that market's starting to run away overseas for us, and it's like, crap, like there's all these other options available in all these other markets, and the U.S. is just like stalemate, stuck here. So I can't wait to see OnePlus's. I think theirs is going to be really impressive. Looks like, I haven't written this yet, but I saw it just a day or two ago. It looked like it leaked. It's going to be called the OnePlus Open.
That's kind of cool.
Kind of dig it. At first,
I kind of like that.
I don't know, but I'm like, I love that they're like, stop saying fold. Everybody's saying fold. Like, and the Pixel Fold's going to take a bunch of that brand cache, and then the Galaxy Z Fold. Somebody pointed out, whoever I read, they were like, it does kind of make sense if you think about it.
OnePlus Open.
You open it.
Yeah.
To use the thing, you open it. When you fold it, when you're folding it, you're closing it down to put it away. It's like, that's.
And OnePlus, like open, like I don't know.
It flows.
That's nice.
Yeah,
that's solid.
It's a good naming. So I'm interested in it, especially at its price point. But it's going to be super duper thin too.
Yeah. With a better processor.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah. Much better.
You've written a few articles. We don't want to give away the full. Again, I don't think it's a review. I think we're going to do a my thoughts on that. I think we did that with one of the Pixel phones.
Dave 2D just said, we need to talk about this $1,800.
You've spent some time with it. For those who care about your opinion of phones, here's some thoughts.
I'm not a phone reviewer. I don't want to position myself as one.
you've spent a little time with it, obviously, and you've written a few things. I can't remember what we've talked about on the show, so what's a quick rundown of a few things?
We've not talked about too much, and the only things I've written are web content being wonky on it, and then this drop.
You didn't write about the gyro, did you?
No, and I feel like I need to do a post on that, just so that's out there on the internet, and maybe it coaxes whoever needs to fix it. But yeah, it's a whole mashup of things. Like, I have all these weird conflicting thoughts about this device. And I had to give that a solid 2 weeks to settle in, because I wanted to love it. Mm-hmm. Like, I wanted to not just love it, but like be like, this is transformational. Like, this is the best thing I've ever used. I love everything about it.
Yeah, this is new, innovative.
Yeah, I don't love everything about it. But a lot of the things I don't love about it don't have anything to do with this phone. So I don't want to like let Google off the hook on everything, but it's like the problem's not this phone. The problem's not this hardware. They didn't mess anything up. The problem is the ecosystem around it. And part of that comes down to web content, like reading. I don't know, probably 70% of the stuff on the web sucks on the inner screen. It sucks.
Yeah. That's no bueno.
No, because it's in a weird spot. And the Samsung, I guess, was this way too. I didn't have it long enough to really get into this stuff. If it's not formatted right, it's a bizarro form factor. So I had to go look up, because I wanted to fix, before I wrote that, I wanted to fix our site to make, the media queries. If you know anything about CSS, like in mobile design, you got to use media queries to say, if it's this wide, do this thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't know what this thing's reporting as.
Right.
Like, I can't tell exactly. It's clearly in between some stuff. And so it basically reports itself as what you would consider a very large phone, which is what it is technically. But I was kind of hoping it would report when it was in landscape mode on a similar way to, because it's got enough pixels to do so, because it doesn't have anything to do with the actual pixels. It's what the viewport is acting as if, because you got scaling and all that kind of stuff. Because the inside of this thing's like almost a quad HD display. If it reported as that, and then the browser just gave you exactly that, you wouldn't be able to see anything on the page. It would be so small.
Be tiny, yeah.
Because my monitor that's this big is quad HD as well. So you can't just do that. Like, it's got to scale itself and report as a different size, and then everything on the web now renders clearly based on that stuff. Like, these are all problems we've gotten over with mobile web, and we're good. But now it's just a matter of, what is it telling the browser? Here's how big I am. You can change. There's like 3 sliding settings on every phone for your resolution, so you can knock it down 1 and change some of that stuff, but it's not much. So the problem is, in landscape, it comes in at like 900 pixels width, which is a little smaller than the iPad, and like an old school iPad mini, in landscape, which is 1024 by 768. Doesn't matter what the resolution is on your iPad. It's usually just double those numbers, but 1024 by 768 is what it's telling the browser it is, so that everything doesn't get all tiny. And so this thing's like 900 or like 870 or something like that, which is this weird middle range in between, to where most browsers have not quite told it to go mobile, but it's not desktop anymore. It's not really tablet and so it just, most things are just still like, if the website has restructured itself to be a 1-column view, that's what you're getting. And now in the web designer's mind, they went, hey, by the time they get down to this size, it's going to be on a vertical, larger, like a small tablet. Like, think of an iPad mini, kind of this way. So until you get to 768 pixels, that's what you're thinking. Like, iPad mini in portrait mode, small amount of margin on the side, but mostly like the screen size will make the content squeeze in. You don't want to create too much margin and have like this weird small column. So it's like, cool, that's good. Well, that's no good on here, because now you have a small margin but a wide screen, and so your sentences go real long left to right. And there's a reason newspapers and magazines and stuff put things in columns. Like, there is a way that our brains are better at consuming, left to right stuff. It's why when you open a book, it doesn't run the sentence across the entire book or across the entire magazine. It does this, and it columns things for a reason. And so you take that away, and you got and nothing looks good. Like, ads that normally would be smaller, or box ads, they're like, we don't know what to do. It just doesn't look good. It's not a good experience. It's terrible to read. Like, to the point where it's almost better I got to the point where I was opening like 2 Chrome instances next to each other, just so it was half the phone. At that point, you might as well close it and use the outer screen.
Might as well have a normal phone.
So that's frustrating. That's not Google's fault.
Right.
That's just a new form factor in the market. That's like, people are like, damn it. Another thing we got to think about.
How long did it take us to get websites optimized for mobile?
And this is such a tiny blip on the radar.
It's just a weird.
That's not going to fix.
Yeah.
Our site's better now.
Yay.
On this. So it's all it is creating. If you're going to keep it single, if you're going to have multiple layouts that you're going to kind of flow into a single pane, that's fine on this. But you need to create some more margin so it feels more like a column of content in the middle. Yeah. So that's a little off-putting because I like to read a lot on my phone. I consume a lot of web content on my phone. So it's like, this isn't great.
And then Books was having a
and then
similar
so Google Play Books on the Galaxy Z Fold never had a problem with this because it opens up to portrait. So it's when you open it this way as a book kind of shape, it's actually taller than it is wide, which creates a DPI thing where the columns, I don't know what the thing is. Maybe the DPI is just different on that device. So you would think, since I'm opening this in landscape, for sure Google Play Books is going to open up in a side-by-side view because it's got more room. Of course it's going to do that, and it doesn't. Now if I turn the screen resolution down, up, whatever you want to call it, if I make everything smaller on the screen, basically presenting a higher resolution, the next time I open up Playbooks, it'll be side by side. So clearly it's a DPI thing. So Playbooks says if DPI is X, give me side by side. But there's no option to turn it on or off, which is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Yeah. Amazon, like the Kindle reader, this is fun. You can tell it to do side by side, but it works perfectly. And so if you want to hold it, kind of book-like, which I would not recommend if you're doing with white background, because that white background you can see it on here, like it's almost bright because it's the screen's curved. But on dark background it doesn't bother. But if you open it this way, you can do that. But then the page turn animation, which thank you Amazon for adding that. I really enjoy that. I like seeing the animated page turn. It's one of the reasons I stuck with Playbooks for a long time. I just like that. It's a nice touch. But their page turn animation is the full screen. So instead of it turning and like folding over to here, it turns both pages as one big page. As if
you have it stapled in the corner.
It's little stuff, I know, but those are things that I was super looking forward to doing. And then there's the gyroscope thing that Joe mentioned. I don't know if it's on Google. Google put it on developers when I reached out, and they said, no, it's we've reported this right. So I don't understand why the app would even think anything different, because we see this on Chromebooks.
And you said in the camera app, the gyro was working, right?
No, it wasn't.
No, it was not. Okay.
So let's see.
So then that's on.
So I'm going to open the camera here,
or at least the developers of that app. Let's cut over to this.
So it's. It looks like it's doing okay now.
Yeah. Could have been an early little glitch.
Well, no.
No.
Yeah, see, it's still thinking it's portrait. Like, why wouldn't it be going full screen this way?
Yeah.
Let me look. Let me do this. Let me go 16. Nope, see? Full image, immersive crop. So if I'm going full image.
Yeah, so show it to this.
I'm telling it full image right now, and you can see it's clearly doing a portrait. So if I said full image right now, it should know that it's in a landscape setting. Because again, if I go out to the outer screen and I tell it, let's see, no, it's a full, so full image 4:3 is still a tall 4:3. It didn't turn it to the side here, like that would be stupid. It follows the flow of the phone in a 4:3 aspect, and so if it did the same thing here, doesn't it make sense that it would be doing it this way?
Yeah.
And so clearly, because this is an immersive crop, all that's doing is chopping most of the image off.
Yeah, I don't know what
so the inner camera thing is weird, and that tells me like I'm not sold that there's not something not quite right here, because what's happening, it's fairly simple when you think about it. If the phone is like this, and this is in a portrait, like the gyro is telling it this is up, okay, and I open this way, I'm now in a landscape mode.
So you've had it. You're holding it, for those listening. You're holding it regular. Just open it straight up.
So opening it straight up. It's now in a landscape orientation because it is wider than it is tall. So when the game opens, now think about it. If I opened up Call of Duty, holding my phone like this, what do I have to do? I have to turn my phone. Exactly. I turn it 90 degrees to play. So now I'm opening it. It thinks up, right? You're going to turn that phone 90 degrees, right, when you play, right? That's what you're going to do, right? So now I open the game up. Well, the game goes, oh, no, we're already in landscape. We don't need to rotate. The gyro is like, no, they're going to rotate at 90 degrees. And I don't do that. Well, guess what? It's 90 degrees off. And that's exactly what you see. Tilting up and down tilts you left and right. Tilting left and right tilts you up and down. So we've seen that for years on Chromebooks with Android apps. Because if you look deep into the code for Chromebooks, any screen that's going to be on a tablet always gets registered like deep in the system level as the smaller number, longer number. So it actually gets registered instead of, if it's a 1080p screen, it doesn't get registered as a 1920 by 1080. It gets registered as a 1080 by 1920. Up and down is, for whatever reason, that's the default orientation. I have no idea. I guess that makes sense though, because I don't know. I don't know why that is done. There's probably a reason for it. But for whatever reason, that's the same thing is happening here. And so one game, Call of Duty Mobile, doesn't seem to care. But it's same on Chromebooks. Mm-hmm. Chromebooks that every other game the gyro's off 90 degrees on, Call of Duty's like, don't care. So somewhere Call of Duty is, I don't know, asking... I don't know. Asking maybe at an OS level which way's up, versus the other games are maybe just saying on a system level which way's up. They're not actually asking the OS for the gyro orientation. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just know Call of Duty's never had an issue on any Chromebook. Every other game does, and it's the exact same thing here, which is super frustrating because I like using gyro on games, and it's like, well, I can't do that on this. So, and it's Tensor 2, it's okay for gaming. It's not great. So that's why I think there's a chance if OnePlus handles this a little bit better, if it can handle games really well, that would enhance my enjoyment of the device because I like playing those kind of games on tablets.
Yeah.
And this is clearly a tablet.
It's like you got this nice big screen.
It's fantastic. You can see better, and it's an immersive thing. But there's all the upsides to it too. Like we watched a whole episode of a Netflix show my wife and I watched. Hadn't watched it in forever, and we're like, where were we on that? And so I was pulling up episodes just to figure out where we were. Got sucked into the show and watched 2 episodes laying in bed.
Yeah,
and me holding this thing up in front of us. But it's this huge immersive screen, and the speakers are fantastic, and it's like. That part's awesome. And when websites are laid out right, that's awesome. And playing some of the games that I play, like Wordle or basic things, that stuff's great too.
Right.
Like it's all this is great and this kind of sucks. And then I just don't have those killer like, oh, I have to open the screen for this. But when it works and you open the screen, there's this like wow kind of moment to it. So I'm back and forth with it.
Yeah.
So it'll be an interesting video. It's going to have to be scripted because
or bullet points for sure. Yeah.
Something. I just have too much to say on this one.
Well, and it's just weird too because as much as any other tech lately, I think we've all been, and especially you, given some of your experience with foldables in the past. Really looking forward to this one.
Big time.
Like really hyped on this. Slab smartphones, we've talked about it before, are fairly stagnant and there's not a lot of craziness happening there. So, here's this new thing. Here's this exciting thing. Like you want to just get it and love it. And
but that's the weird part. It's like it's not like, and I don't, man. I'm not feeling it. Like, as I've kept it in my pocket, like I took my SIM out of it, and I'm gonna tell this in the review. Like, I was so just kind of like frustrated with it a little bit that I was like, I don't know, but I'll do the review, use it around the office, and then after like 2-3 days, I was like, I can't do that. Like, I can't.
You almost got to put yourself through it.
I have to force myself into it. And as I kind of got over the hump of getting used to carrying it, like the size of it and all that kind of stuff, I don't even think about that anymore.
Yeah.
And the outer screen, it's so funny. Like we talked about, one of the biggest hangups for me was the outer screen on the Z Fold being just almost unusable and being frustrating. And I told everybody then, and I'll still say it again, you will use the outer screen on this device more than you expect to. You will. You won't open it for everything. Typing is another one. Opening it up, split keyboard, that's nice. But I swipe type. So I'm still faster closing it up and responding. Or I can swipe all the way across this tablet. Oh, boy. Like, that's so ridiculous. And so it's like,
yeah.
Again, there's 100 little things. But, the outer screen on this is so good. I was in bed last night, so I was sitting there scrolling through and reading news and stuff, and I didn't even have it open. I'm like, I guess I should open it. Like, that's a weird feeling to have. Like, I got this, like, power underneath here to do something cool.
And yet you're just using a small phone.
Yeah, basically. I don't feel compelled to do it. Yeah, and it's a much smaller phone than I would normally carry. Right. So it's a weird spot. So I'm looking forward to getting that's why I want to kind of script this one so that I can kind of get all my thoughts out and have them there. And then let you handle this for a little while. And I'm curious to see what someone else's thoughts are, because you're going to have to get used to it for sure. It will be you're going to have to probably give yourself a week to just don't even collect your opinions for a week. Just get over it. And then you'll start going, okay, I see
because it's like, it's almost like, you have to get through that, just like
it's a transition.
The basic transition of it. Same as like when we got Kenny on Android, it's like you got to get through the basics
because you immediately have that like, oh nope, it's too different and I don't like it, because our phones are so utilitarian. Like, you just want to pick it up and use it. And that's where I've gotten with smartphones. That's why I'm not a smartphone reviewer, and I don't want to review smartphones. Like, I just want it to work good. I want to play games on it, and I want it to feel nice in my hand, and I don't want to think about it much after that.
I kind of want to get the nothing phone too.
I love
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I watched a few videos last night and
pretty pumped about it. I think it's cool looking.
That looks very interesting.
It does. And I like that it's not a Google looking UI at all.
No.
But it's also an intriguing enough, like they're caring about those attention to details. It's not that I love Google's super colorful blobby kind of thing. Like, it is what it is. I just like their attention to detail with it. Like the animations, the way it moves, it feels alive.
It's the flow of it.
And I think it looks like they've kind of done that with nothing. It's a different version of that whole idea, but pretty cool one. Yeah. And I feel like it's Carl Pei getting to kind of do his thing. Who's the main guy at OnePlus now? I get him, and Carl is the old OnePlus guy.
I think, yep.
Let's see.
I'm not sure who. Blanking on it.
Pete Lau.
Pete Lau. Yeah.
They all have like single syllable names. Yep. Pete Lau, Carl Pei. Carl Pei. I feel like nothing is the company he probably wanted OnePlus to be, but OnePlus was always attached at the hip to Oppo, so I'm sure he was always on a short leash on a lot of things, and so it's like he's gotten to go now do his
can only innovate as far as Oppo wants to innovate.
Yeah. And Oppo, is a successful company and make really cool stuff, and so, and I think they've done, to their credit, this is going a little off on a tangent, but to their credit, they took over OnePlus, and left OnePlus as the brand, and for a couple years there, I was like, OnePlus they're going to kill it. Yeah, it's going to die because it has become nothing of what it was. This flagship, destroyer and scruffy startup kind of thing. Like, they've lost all of that, and they're not good at being a flagship company. They're just not good at it. They've completely changed that. Like, the OnePlus Pad looks great. I have no need for it, and I still kind of want to mess with one. I really do. Like, I'm like, that looks cool. And the OnePlus 11, like, they got rid of the Pro and T and all that stuff. It's just OnePlus 11, and it's getting reviewed great. And it's the same. It's kind of like with the nothing phone. I'm like, for the price, I kind of want to try it.
Interesting.
Like, it looks great, but it's just going to be another great slab smartphone. So it's like, I have one of those.
If our phones are this kind of utilitarian thing
it's
for us
a window
now,
to your apps now. And so I've got that, Samsung S23 Ultra. Like, other than a few different things of the UI, it's not really going to change the experience that much. Like, there's no point in doing it. And so maybe I'm growing up as a person. I'm just like, I don't know. Unless it's going to do something really crazy different, I'm not that interested in flopping phones around and selling this and doing all that junk now. But the Nothing Phone 2 does have my attention.
It looks...
And it's like, processors are so fast now. Like, I've seen some people like, well, it's the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. I'm like,
yeah, okay, it's going to be...
It's also proven.
It's going to be great.
Right. It's going to be super fast because all the phones that have that in it are super fast. And
Yeah.
the Gen 2 is better at heat dissipation and stuff like that, but it's not wildly faster.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, like the glyph stuff, it looks really interesting. I like the idea of being able to turn the phone over, and I love a thing that tells you only when certain things, like I only have a couple notifications that come to my watch. So when my watch buzzes, I usually know it's something I need to pay attention to. Like, and I love that. I love being able to set my phone down and not look at it. I like losing my phone at home. I like forgetting where I left my phone. I don't struggle with the whole my phone's in my face all the time. I don't. I like putting it away, and like even when we're here, I don't mind leaving it on my desk and hit golf balls and go write some articles, and I'll pick it up 2 hours later and be like, ooh, I guess I should check some stuff and make sure that I'm not completely missing out. But I do like the idea that, you know, at dinner or whatever, being able to set it to the side, and if that pops up, like I need to probably pay attention to that. Like I'm disconnected, but I'm also not completely just floating out in space. You know?
And this is the LEDs that are built into the back of the phone, so you can developers, they've opened it up to where developers can leverage that and give you.
Well, the notification thing, so the one little glyph up at the top, like that's built into the OS, so you can tell it what is allowed to notify you there. But like the progress bar, stuff, there's like 2 apps that work with it, and let's be honest, it's probably going to be 2 apps for a while.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how many people are going to jump to, unless they sell a bunch of these somehow. He said they moved, the Nothing phone sold 870,000 units.
That's more than I thought. That's impressive, to be honest.
For a startup company, I've never seen one in the wild. And they're not at carriers, so
that's pretty solid.
That's very solid.
Yeah.
So I mean, they'll probably crest over 1 million with this newer one.
Yeah.
Because it's still very inexpensive for a very considered phone. It's what, $600?
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's mid-range price.
It's got a iPhone vibe.
Yeah. It looks gorgeous.
It looks really nice. Yeah. So, anywho, smartphone stuff.
Yeah.
We'll maybe next week. Maybe we can tackle that next week.
Yeah. Oh, I'd like to get it done next week.
Yeah.
I'm gonna at least write the script or whatever it is. I'm gonna put on paper. Like the thoughts will be collected next week. That way I'm ready to go back to us.
I love the idea of trying the kind of Dave 2D video, having it like you being able to either have a script or have bullet points, but have it in front of you and still be like messing with it maybe. And then we still film some B-roll maybe, but then like that's kind of the main chunk of the video. Could be cool. We'll see. Not sure yet. But I think that's it for this week. We appreciate you all tuning in and listening and watching. If you are watching over on the YouTubes, the tubes, ha. There you go. You can wave. Wave to both cameras. You never know which one it is. Make sure to give us, if you made it this far, please just do one little extra thing. Go down there and give us a thumbs up. Click subscribe.
1 thing. That's 2 things.
3 things.
Ring the notification
bell.
3 things.
Maybe leave a comment too.
4 things. But one main thing.
Yeah.
Do all those things.
The main thing that you need to do is those things.
Those things.
Pretty simple. Go do that. If you do that. Oh man, I meant to bring Paul in here. He's over in the other room because there's no sunlight.
We're blacked out.
There's no sunlight.
It's detrimental to the plant.
Paul has some new soil. He's looking great.
Up. Yeah, he's beast mode, man.
He is beast mode. It's summer. He's getting his summer bod ready. He's ready for the
like, put me outside. Wait, God, it's hot.
Yeah.
No, bring me back in.
All right. We appreciate you all tuning in, watching, listening. We'll catch you next week. See you.